When a client comes to us, the first thing we want to understand is their lifestyle. Are they outdoor people? Do they like the heat? Do they like the cold? Here in Perth, we have pretty mild winters and we have pretty hot summers. Generally, we embrace the heat quite well in summer, but spend a lot of energy on heating in winter. People shy away from full passive house design in Perth because they believe it's a practice for very cold European climates. They believe that in passive house, you should never open a door or window. Of course, that's not true. I'm here today to catch up with my client, Rebecca, to see how she's adapted to passive house living. Let's go and see if she opens her doors or windows. I'm going to take you right back to the first time I came to this house.
Yes.
And I walked through the passageway and you described to me your living kitchen and living area.
Okay, so we had the old traditional sleep out. Cold, drafty, fibro construction. But that's where we did most of our living. So that's where a kitchen had been put in there. That's where our dining room was. That's where, I guess, as a family, that's where we lived. I certainly,
it was cosy. I remember it was cosy.
Yes, and certainly quite small. But I do actually remember we were sitting at the table and Mike had said, maybe we kind of know that maybe that tree needs to go. And you said, no, I think we can actually work around with it. And I think that's where we know we're sold.
that liquid amber, that was a perfect spot on the northern side of the house, deciduous.
Yep.
Absolutely perfect. And when I walked out on that rickety old deck that you had,
Yep.
and I saw that tree, and I thought, got it.
Yeah. And I have to say, while we always enjoyed it, I mean, how we live now is, I guess, around the tree in some ways.
We knocked off all that.
Yes.
that went. And then we've put this passive house extension on. Mm-hmm. So describe to me now your lifestyle before, living in that cramped sort of little sleep out,
yep.
to how it's changed because you're a family of four?
Yes.
So how that's changed?
I would say, so we still live in our kitchen dining area, but it's now down here. Which is obviously an awful lot more comfortable, no drafty doors. Mm-hmm.
So when people first walk in here, your friends
yep.
and family, what did they think about the space? What were their first comments? Can you remember?
If you come from the front, you have absolutely no idea, and I love that, a bit of a hidden gem here at the back. But I think also, because you can't actually see down here, until you come through the doors and you go, there's a stairwell, and then making that sort of turn around the corridor and then out here. So I think a lot of it's a bit of wow. Bright, and certainly it's been a far more comfortable room to be in.
We designed it around passive house principles, so
yep.
obviously facing to the north, double glazing, UPVC window frames, you've got the heat exchange unit. How have you found all that? Is it all working?
Yes, absolutely. So I guess we've now been in here a winter and a summer, and the old part of the house, which was double brick, used to be our high performance part of the house. And that's now the part that, it's a lot colder or it retains the heat. Whereas down here, it's not been built in that way. And we find, yes, there are still summer days that we need to put the air conditioner on, but it's not on for very long. Setting the thermostat, we're not having to set it very high, but it just keeps the room quite comfortable, actually. And the same in winter. We'll probably put it on a little bit, but we're not using it for heating very much. So
that's great.
Yeah, it is.
One of the things that I noticed walking into a space like this with the heat exchange unit is the freshness,
yes.
the fresh air.
Yes.
Like there's no stale smells, there's nothing, it's just fresh air.
The heat exchanger, it's quiet. You don't even really know it's operating, so it's just there. It's just there. I really like what you ended up, creating or suggesting, which, bringing this part of the house out, but setting it off to our southern boundary. Thank you. But really taking the advantage of all the northern sun that we can, and as we can see right now, there is sun coming in here at the moment. So using that passive house sort of principles, you can still get something that's quite comfortable quite warm without just purely relying on that passive solar, which I guess in Australia we're probably more confident or more familiar with that than using other sustainable methods. And I guess the passive house has really worked in our setting.
It's interesting you mentioned the setback from the southern boundary, because most people would just push the house as far as they could against one boundary to open up the other side, but that's to the detriment of crossflow ventilation. So by having it off the boundary a little bit allows you to get that ventilation through as well. And the liquid amber. So in summer when it's full of leaves, what's that do for the building?
Actually, I have to say in summer it's a very shady back garden. We do get some morning sun first thing, and certainly at the peak of summer, but that tree pretty well provides shade for this lower part of the house for most of the day.
Glad we kept it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There are a lot of the birds are pleased too.
Yeah. So in summer, when it's a bit, when it's not stinking hot, but it's a bit warmer, do you open the house up?
I quite like that sort of movement, just the additional sort of air. That was one of my concerns by putting this on. Would that actually sort of block that airflow, particularly through the old part of the house? But no, it hasn't. So we can have one or two of these windows open, the front door open, and we'll still get that airflow. So through the old part of the house as well, which I think is great, and it helps. One of the positives of the old part of the house is still there.
Some people think that when you've got a passive house and it's airtight, you've got to keep it locked up all the time. But you open the doors and windows when the wind's blowing and the temperature's comfortable, don't you? And you use it like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So up here in the master bedroom, we've got your lovely tree.
Oh, I know. Yes. I mean, look, it's all the leaves are gone at the moment, but it's a beautiful sight no matter what time of the year, really. And obviously gives us a bit more additional privacy in the summer. I remember when you're talking, I guess, having sort of like two blocks and having the master bedroom as a block on top. And I remember you saying, okay, so we've got it like this. What if we did this? And just sort of did that tilt, and we're like, oh, yes.
Just made it a little bit more dynamic, didn't it?
Yes, it's fantastic. I don't actually always sort of get the sense that we're on that tilt, but obviously you're very obvious from outside. Yeah, it's certainly adds something.
And so the morning sunshine at the moment would be coming up pretty much straight into the window, a little bit around it. And good airflow through.
A very nice breeze through here as well. So even though we've got a few sort of twists and turns in the design, there is still all that airflow throughout the house, through that cross ventilation still there.
Yeah, good.
Certainly tucked in a very functional bathroom in quite a small area.
Yep.
So I really love that.
Was challenging.
Yeah, I bet it was. But it's worked really well. Even just being able to have, using this wall for the wardrobe, yet it's still also quite a generous sized hallway or passageway into the bedroom. We've still been able to get all of that functionality into a decent space. Yep.
Great. So this is the area where the original sleep out was?
Yes, so we had the sleep out and then a deck.
So this wall, which was originally rendered,
yes.
Now I suppose that brickwork, which is exposed in the stairwell as well, so you've got the continuous exposed brickwork all the way through.
Yes. When we saw the bricks, they were rather nice, and I guess it's just paying a bit of a homage to the old building as well. We've actually now been able to see where the incinerator used to be.
Yep.
That's been quite a nice little feature and a nice contrast from the old to, I guess, the new.
Yeah, and that's one of those little surprises that's just happened during the build, which is quite nice, and nothing that we actually thought of during that design process. So that's kind of cool that the builders being able to add that little bit in and create something that's added to the designs.
Yeah, it certainly was a team effort. So and I think that we've certainly benefited from that.
Good, fantastic. Can we go back inside?
Yes, definitely.
So one of the things I love coming back and talking to my clients is when I come into your home and it's working for you and you tell me all these wonderful things of how it's doing what it's meant to do, and it's really touching. So I've got to say thank you very much for letting me come back and have a look through your home and hear the stories and revisit some of the stories that of the design process. So thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.